We're heading across the Atlantic for the British round of the BiS Formula 3 Championship. Round 2 takes us to the Thruxton circuit in Hampshire. The opener set the tone, close competition, wheel-to-wheel battles, and proof that anyone can race for victory. And while Morris came away with all 3 wins, he had to work for every one of them. With 26 drivers in the hunt, snapping at his heels, it's clear this is anyone's race. Now the fight continues on one of the fastest circuits in the UK, a true temple of speed. New names made their mark in round 1, but the title contenders are just getting started. With 15 races still to come, every point and every risk matters. It's flat out, no room for error, and full commitment through every corner. Tonight, it's Thruxton. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to Pit Road Productions. My name is Daniel Sippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth today is the one and only Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardener, and at the production controls, the one and only Mr. Christian Hill. Reese, what can you tell us today, sir?
Well, I can tell you a little bit about the schedule to come and the track as well, but before I do that, I'm just been hyped for this round from the moment I saw it on the calendar. Thruxton, very underrated, underused circuit, super quick, and I'm looking forward to the racing tonight in the BiS F3 Championship. Let's go to the schedule to find out where we've been so far and where we're going. Well, we started off 2 weeks ago at Mosport. It is a 3-round championship and a huge amount of dominance up the front there from as we went to round 2 at Thruxton, and then Imola, Bathurst, Spa, and Jerez are going to round off the season. I mean, this is just a fantastic schedule, Zippy, and I'm looking forward to seeing if our championship leader can defend the lead that they managed to bring out.
Absolutely. Actually, speaking of the track, let's go over that just a little bit more. Welcome to Thruxton, 2.4 miles of pure velocity. This is the fastest circuit in the UK where bravery and precision go hand in hand. Flat out through the sweeping first sector, there's barely a moment to lift as cars rocket through Allard and into the complex at Campbell, Cobb and Seagrave. My apologies. The only real braking zone before the speed ramps up again. From there, it's a white-knuckle run through Noble, Goodwood and Church, some of the fastest corners in Europe, where commitment is everything and any mistake will send you flying off the road. Then it's a long blast down Brooklands into the final chicane at Club, the main passing opportunity and a last chance to make something happen. Thruxton is unforgiving, relentless and absolutely flat out. In Formula 3 cars, it's a test of courage, control and who dares to stay on the throttle the longest. Ladies and gentlemen, that is indeed where we're going to be racing today. Let's take a very quick look here at the race format. Reese, you want to take that one?
Yeah, indeed. Practice already ended at about 80 minutes in length. We have an open qualifying session. The drivers are right in the middle of at the moment, just a couple of minutes to go. We have 2 sprint races of about 15 minutes each. That's going to work out to 14 laps around Thruxton, a warm-up of 5 minutes, and then a feature race with the top 10 grid invert, 25 minutes long. I'm looking forward to looking forward to thinking about what kind of racing we're going to be seeing in that feature race, especially with that invert. And the thing is, the drivers will need that fuel in the feature. They won't be able to change much else, though. Brake bias adjustment on board in these cars only. Other than that, everyone's driving effectively the exact same settings on their cars, Zippy. Man, this is going to be a fun one. We've got, I believe we may have standings coming out of the first round. We're going to be seeing that one. It's Clay Morris who leads the championship coming out of the first round, with Aussie Milwane 50 points behind. And as I said, Clay Morris with that massive championship lead coming out of sheer domination at the first round at Mosport. Let's see if he can hold them off here.
Absolutely fantastic stuff, and definitely some very familiar names in this season. It's good to have indeed have Joseph Yang has returned, and not only that, we've got Cedric O'Hine for Lima Racing. Guys, you might have noticed what hat I'm wearing today, courtesy of Lima Racing. We're going to give them a little bit of love. We've got a couple of drivers here, including John Bemberlit as well. Both of those gentlemen running real radical SR3s in the championship here in Canada. Actually, Cedric O'Hine, I believe, is leading the Masters as well. So fair to say, attaboy to him. I believe he's down at Trois Rivières this weekend. It was Calabogie last weekend and Indy before that, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, what a fantastic set of standings. Let's take a look at the team standings. So Radical Britannia iRacing is at the top. So Radical Britannia Racing with 180 points. Doppler Britannia iSports just 37 points behind. But you can see if you go a little bit further down, incredibly close, especially between MTC Motorsports and Ridgeway Racing setups, ladies and gentlemen. That is Robert Ridgeway and Richard Swindell, I believe, rocking that team, currently jostling with MTC Motorsports for 6th place.
Yeah, indeed. Massive job from the drivers and the teams coming out of the first round here. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Thruxton, as we mentioned in the track feature, the fastest circuit in the UK, and it's got some pretty brutal curbs around the end of the lap as well, which should do a number on the suspension of these Formula 3 cars.
Yeah, certainly they're not exactly really great over the bumps, Reese, and certainly I have watched a bit of the real-life racing as well for this track, and I've got to admit that last chicane is going to be an absolute belter. But let's head over to the grid and just see how these guys have got it lined up for the first race of the night.
Indeed. Well, Michael Broomhead has managed to qualify on pole position for the first race of the night. Jamie LeVay joins him on the front row. Our championship leader, Clay Morris, is in 3rd place, starting alongside Andrew Hardman, with Ozzy Milwane and Assad Nikadambev on the 3rd row. Mark McDonald and Tyler Scarali on row number 4, with Clovis Girard and Alex McLean rounding out your top 10. Only 6 more cars here, bit of a lower turnout for the second round. Nicholas Colander and Connor Janateus on row 6, with Richard Swindell's and Lucky 13th starting alongside Cedric O'Hyan. Phil Nellers and Graham Lobban are going to round out our field here. Zippy standing start on the way into turn 1, which is incredibly open at this circuit. Man, the hype continues to build.
Oh, it absolutely does. But while we've got a quick time well the grid, I do wonder if we can get a picture of that Lima racing car pop up. Christian, if you can make it happen, by all means go for it. If not, I do understand. Certainly we're getting a little bit of a shout out actually for the hat I'm wearing. We've got Cairo Ends in the chat. Certainly we do indeed. That's the name you're familiar with actually there, Reese. We do see him on a Saturday, and we are definitely going to flaunt these guys wherever possible. I've got to say I'm grateful. Look at that, the bottom right hand of your screen. Cedric O'Hyan, he's currently qualified in 14th place in this, and leading the Masters division there in the Radical Canada Cup. They're absolutely fantastic, and loving having Pit Road Productions on that car. Huge thank you again. Well played there, Christian, as well, for getting them up on such short notice.
Yeah, indeed. Great stuff. Great to see support from Lima Racing here at Pit Road Productions. As the real-life crossover continues, let's go for the race start here. Broomhead on pole position, and the start is on. Great start from Michael Broomhead, keeping the throttle pinned to the floor through turn 1. And it looks like a nice clean start from everybody, but they still got to get to the first braking zone first. Keep up the 150 marker, 150, and then into the apex, side by side through the midfield there as Assad Nikadambev tries to get his way past Ozzy Milwane. It doesn't work ultimately. Got to get a good run through those corners and pick up the slipstream if you want a chance here. Speaking of slipstream, Mark McDonald's picking it up there as they come into the super fast section of the lap, Zippy.
Yeah, it certainly is indeed the first time I've ever seen Formula 3 here, certainly in the sim as well. It's good to see Thruxton getting a little bit of use. I kind of hope for Cadwell, but I'm sure I would have been the only one with that opinion. I imagine these things would have indeed needed a different kind of wing. Maybe some ground force about to try and say hug to the road. As they're going to go free wide there on the first lap. Ladies and gentlemen, this could get very, very interesting. It's Broomhead, LeVay, and Clay Morris. And I've got to say, Andrew Harmon playing it smart, sitting back there in fourth. But you can already see them almost accordioning it up into the chicane. And Clay Morris has made his way to the front. Broomhead pushed back in the third.
Well, that's why Clay Morris is leading the championship. What a move. He was able to get it up the inside of the final chicane and absolutely sweep his way through. His pace is obviously looking incredible at the moment, but what that tells me is you got to be careful because you're very vulnerable in the slipstream. LeVay, if he gets a good run, might be able to get him back, but Broomhead is under threat for third. Andrew Hardman is having a look at him as we come into church just about, and Hardman gets up the inside of Broomhead, and that is third place for him. So this I think this is going to set the stage for the race to come here, Zippy. There's plenty of battling going on in the midfield as well. Aussie Milwane holding on to 5th place, but he's under threat from Mark McDonald. There's 4 cars involved in this fight as they come down to the apex of the turn there, and Jamie LeVay gets Clay Morris back for the leader, at least tries to, but in that battle I was just talking about, get it on screen, Christian, come on. Mark McDonald loses a couple of positions, and, well, that's going to get Aussie Milwane through to 5th place. Scarelli and Nakardambev side by side now. This is the kind of racing that you can expect from Thruxton.
Yeah, I've got to admit, it's definitely a lot more potent than I had imagined at first. I've seen a little bit of elevation change as well. It's actually kind of nice and beautiful scenery there. It looks like a little bit of fog there as well today here at Thruxton. But aside Nakardambev, certainly he's applying a good amount of pressure there to the back of Aussie Milwane, the number 14 car. As we see a little bit of a move further back in the field, Connor Janateus, one of the real-life F1600 drivers, going at it with Alex McLean. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Alex McLean representing very kindly Pit Road Productions.
Oh, you commentators cursed him, Zippy! Oh, no!
Oh, it's all right. He's racing with Radical Britannia. I'm off the hook.
Oh, that's contact between himself and Janateus, and they are both out of the race. Oh, dear. That's a disastrous end to race 1 for McLean and Janateus, as Milwane and Nakardambev now still fighting, this time over 7th. They sweep back and forth gently through the chicane. And that's going to round things out for the 2nd lap. Yes, I know I'm peaking, guys. Don't worry, I'm adjusting my game.
Excitement. It's excitement, ladies and gentlemen. He is absolutely loving this race, and I gotta say, I can't fault him for a second. Certainly, I do actually find that whether I'm in the car or in the booth, the adrenaline can be very similarly matched. As you see here right now, one of the previous champions in BiS, he won the Radical Canada Cup, the Pro Series before. He has a test session. Well, he has done a test session in one of them Radicals. For a huge thanks to Rob Burgess for making that happen for Radical Canada East. But right now, his biggest challenge is the 230 car of Asad Nakardambev. Now, he is definitely representing Pit Road Productions. It's on his nose going, ladies and gentlemen, and right now it's fair to say he's in front and doing a fantastic job, but you can see right behind Tyler Scarelli is looking to try and make a move as well.
There we go then, Nakardambev drawing alongside Milwane. Scarelli very wisely stays back as they make contact, and they are both off at the chicane. It's an absolute miracle that they've avoided the wall. But careful on the rejoin. Oh dear. Oh no. Okay, that's just made things way worse. Cedric O'Hyan involved there. Both Aussie Milwane and Nakardambev tried to get going at the same time, and that has just needlessly ruined Cedric O'Hyan's first race.
Yeah, it's fair to say he was the meat in that sandwich on that one race. Definitely not what we want to see, but you know what, these things do happen, and certainly the good thing about this is where we've got 3 races happening this evening, he will get a chance to try and recover, but it has dropped him about 5 seconds back from the pack. But as we say that, we're going to move back up to the battle between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. It's Hardman, Broomhead and LeBay.
Indeed, and it looks like Broomhead right on the back of Andrew Hardman here. Broomhead running, looks like an RAF roundel on the front of his car, maybe the Royal Canadian Air Force, depending on where he puts his allegiances this time. Certainly did. You can take a lot of curb in those chicanes, though. I think he might be okay. But I think I understand why Broomhead's going for a military-style scheme here, because Thruxton is actually a former World War II airfield. So, yeah, a little bit of a nod to that, I presume.
Well, I definitely think it is indeed the British Air Force, and don't get me wrong, I'm definitely no history buff, but I can tell you I actually used to live near the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, and I'm going to nerd out a little bit here, and I'm not overly the top, but a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. We used to have a actual working Lancaster there. And I don't know if anybody really knows or appreciates or cares what that is, but they were famous for the dam busters, and indeed they're probably the biggest plane that sounds like a glorified lawnmower, but absolutely fantastically cool stuff. As we get a beautiful camera angle here, you can see the runway in there, and now pretty cool. I didn't know that he was going to do that paint, and I gotta say it's making me a little bit teary-eyed with a bit of patriotism here. Certainly, Carl the Bald Eagle Machine Mills would definitely be proud of such patriotism.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if that paint scheme helps Broomhead out, and he's managed to work his way into 2nd, and he now has a half a second gap 1 second gap over Jamie LeVay and Andrew Hardman, who are continuing to fight. Bit of an exchange for position between the two of them. Coming into the final chicane, which is the prime overtaking opportunity on the lap around here. The average speed is so high at this circuit. Clovis Girard and Nicholas Colander fighting over 7th place as well. Looks like Nicholas had to park it on the apex there to avoid running into Clovis, and so his momentum is shattered for the first part of this lap.
Well, it's good to see Clovis Girard back in the car. I was very lucky to get to meet him. Actually, he was over here in Atlantic Canada. He came down with the Super Production Challenge, and I have indeed met the guy. Now, what you can't see from this angle, ladies and gentlemen, is Clovis is about 8.5 feet tall. At least that's how he felt. And certainly, I'm not exactly the smallest of people. I'm 5'10", and I felt like I was looking up at a skyscraper. But it was great to actually get to meet him. I mean, how long has it been, Christian? You've been here since the start. I mean, BiS, what are we, 2-3 years now? It must be 2 years now, but it's been a lot of seasons. I certainly have. But look at how long I've been in commentary. It feels like a lot longer. But you can see here, he's going to get a freebie, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe that's just sneak a move past Michael Broomhead, the 00 car. Pretty much going to a stop there as he goes across the start finish.
That's a big problem for Broomhead. I think he might have picked up a slowdown at the chicane. That's just lost him a ton of time and plenty of positions as well. If it's not a slowdown, it's a spin. Broomhead comes out of the final corner and the adhesion just disappears from the rear end of the car. That was that could have been a lot worse than what it was.
Well, what I can say, Reese, is it wasn't a spin, it was indeed acrobatics. If he's going to rock a Royal Canadian Air Force or even need a Royal Air Force paint and livery, he's certainly going to get a little bit of forgiveness there. And right now, he does appear to be under some pressure there from Clovis Girard. Girard will race clean, actually, so will Broomhead. All three of these drivers will be looking to try and make a move up and get there. But right now, it is indeed a battle. They're about 7 seconds back from Tyler Scaralli, who's in 5th. But Clovis Girard very much on the attack, only a 1/10 of a second in it. As I say that, Broomhead on the defense there. Girard maybe going to get an over-under done. Not quite as they go through the chicane.
Yeah, not quite. Got to be so careful not to put a wheel beyond those curbs. Broomhead like onto the grass coming into turn 1. Yeah, I mean, I certainly haven't seen that line before. Broomhead was very comfortable in qualifying. He was able to get pole position, but it seems like the race isn't quite falling to his favor. At the moment, it doesn't look like he'll finish any better than a top 5.
Well, certainly it is indeed a tough battle indeed, as he's got to try and hold off Clovis Girard right behind him. But let's make a move actually quick up to Jamie LeVay and Andrew Hardman, if we could. We got another battle going up on there indeed for 2nd place right now. Hardman, he's definitely been potent in an IndyCar, in a Radical, and indeed a 1600. Pretty much anything you put him in, ladies and gentlemen, as these guys are now going to go toe-to-toe. Teammates indeed. Jamie LeVay, we've seen have absolutely fantastic results in that IndyCar, but can he carry it over to the Formula 3? And on this occasion, it appears not, as Hardman has moved his way up into 2nd place.
It looks like a scheduled change between the MTC Motorsports teammates. Hardman has been able to find his way through, and a new feature for the broadcasts here. This is really nice, Christian. Gives us a little bit of extra perspective on the drivers here. I had no idea Andrew Hardman was an RC car champion, but I certainly know that he has been here practically from the very start.
Absolutely fascinating stuff. I'm glad they haven't made one for me, and if they have, please let's keep it off. I don't know what BiS stats are, but I did manage a podium once at Laguna Seca, and I'm holding on to that. And I do remember Alex Ellis closing in on me at an alarming rate, and I held him off for maybe a lap, which, to be honest, I should have got a trophy just for that. If anybody knows who Alex Ellis is, he has indeed raced in BiS and now actually runs a Cayman GT4 professionally, ladies and gentlemen. So fair play to him, Ellis Engineering there. But right now, Andrew Hardman is there in 2nd, as we're going to move back into P4, ladies and gentlemen. So it looks like Tyler Scarelli is going at it with Mark McDonald there, as these guys were just a 1/10 of a second just a moment ago. Are we going to see Mark McDonald be able to make his way up into 4th? He's previously won the F1600 championship. Can he make some moves again here in the Formula 3 as he gets it done on the inside of Scarelli? Can Scarelli fight back in that number 15?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. LeVay and Hardman just traded places again after Hardman had a poor run out of the chicane. I think that that third and final apex of the final chicane is where drivers are really struggling. They're clattering over the curb and it's losing a lot of momentum. Got to be precise around this circuit. The sheer speed that these guys are carrying, the vast majority of this circuit, flat out. This is the circuit in the UK, I think, with the highest throttle percentage of any lap. So keep your eyes peeled for any mistakes to be made in those slower parts of the lap. You don't spend much time going slow around here.
Definitely a very generous amount of gas pedal involved here, and certainly I do have to wonder just how important the draft's going to be. As you can see there, that Formula 3 car actually really sliding around in that last chicane, as we do indeed have 2 laps left of this race. Claymore is currently about 5.2 seconds out in front. We've got a couple of battles going on. Looks like LeVay and Hardman 7 tenths between them. Mark McDonald and Tyler Scarelli 7 tenths between them. And it looks like Assad Nakatabov is indeed catching up to the back here of Nicholas Kalanda. He's managed to pull that in another couple of attempts last lap. Actually, last lap he was indeed about 6 tenths of a second quicker, 7 tenths of a second quicker. So Collender could very soon be under attack from the 230. One of the younger drivers here in BiS, pretty handy, very handy in the go-kart, in fact, as well. Certainly he's professionally sponsored and everything. And you know, I do have to wonder if he's going to be able to make his way up into P8.
Yes, indeed. Assad Nakadambev, another driver looking for a recovery here in the first race, qualified in 6th place, but obviously had that coming together with Clay Morris earlier on. Actually, no, not Clay Morris. It was Aussie Milwane, the number 14. So, yeah, not ideal for Assad, but he stands a chance of getting past Collender here. Nicholas having a quiet race, but a consistent one. He started outside the top 10 and currently sits well within it. So as long as he stays here, that's going to be a good start to the night for him. But Nakadambev carries a lot of momentum through the first turn here. Not much of a chance to get up the inside at the first real braking zone of the lap, though. And they won't be able to get on the brakes again until the chicane. Try and sort out the exit. Better line through the corner. I think Assad might have done enough here to set up a move.
Yeah, he's certainly, Collander's doing a fantastic job of defending right now. You can see Nakadambev just keeps putting it up on the inside, but Collander keeps fighting back. You see here, they're going around the right-hander, almost side by side. I thought Collander was going to run a little bit wide there, but he's managed to keep it in check now. Are we going to see a little bit of an over-under here? It looks like Collander may be fighting back. He's going to be in the draft. Can he make the most of it? He's going to be able to make the best of Nakadambev into that final chicane as it's coming up, ladies and gentlemen. The 230 is currently ahead, but can the number 5 fight back?
That is the question. And he's held on nicely, has Nakadambev. And the final lap has begun up the front of the field for Clay Morris. And it looks like we're going to be running through very cleanly for our race leader. Not much to say about Morris's race other than he jetted right to the front and he hasn't looked back since. He leads by nearly 6 seconds.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there by Clay Morris. He does actually get to work with Radical Canada as well. Very lucky man. I have a feeling he does more the engineering side. Maybe he does a little bit of wrenching on the cars as well. I think he may be a student. He's got a lot of stuff going on, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play. The guy knows how to drive, certainly in the sim. And right now, he does indeed have that 5.4 second gap to LeVay. Now, I have to wonder, are we going to see a little bit more action in this next lap? Certainly, Thruxton, a new course for a lot of drivers. Mate. Yep, there we go. You knew what I meant. I'm tired, Bruce. It's been a very busy week. And fair play there by Morris. He takes the first win of the evening.
There he does indeed. The first sprint of the night goes to our championship leader, and he maintains his 100% win record for the series so far. Pretty spaced out at the end there. Nakadambev was threatening to catch up to Clovis Girard, but doesn't look like he was able to get the gap down in time. And well, we have 3 retirements from the race here with Aussie Milwane, Alex McLean, and Connor Janateus. Real shame for them all, but looks like Phil Nels having a quiet race as well. Managed to stay out of trouble and has gained 2 spots.
Actually, the hard charger for that race was indeed Graham Lovan as well. He managed to get up 5 positions, so fair play to him. Broomhead taking the biggest hit there. He was down 5, ladies and gentlemen. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But I think we've got an invert grid coming for race 2. Certainly, Reese, your memory might be a little bit
race 3. It's for race 3.
Yeah. There we go. Oh,
Yep.
scenic route.
Oh. Doing a bit of lawn mowing is Phil Nels. Well, that's going to round things off there for the first race of the night. Clay Morris dominant with the run there. Jamie LeVay takes second place with Andrew Hardman in third spot. McDonald and Scarali round out your top 5 with Broomhead, Gerard, Nikardenbev, Colander and Swindells rounding out your top 10. Lobban and O'Hyan in 11th and 12th. Nell is the last finisher on the lead lap. We had Ozzy Milwain and Alex McLean, I think, get back out there and finish a lap down. Connor Janateus 2 laps down. We don't need to go through the grid for race 2 because the results are preserved from race 1. So now, Zippy, we get to do it all again.
Absolutely, and indeed, this is going to be an opportunity for Clay Morris. We have started to see here with the Formula 3 cars, if a driver can get out in front and break that draft, it is indeed a very potent scenario for him. So I do have to wonder, is Jamie LeVay going to be able to fight back? Are we going to see Michael Broomhead? He was fastest in qualifying. Are we going to see him make his way back up onto the podium and indeed maybe even a race win? As certainly it's almost a home track for him here. Broomhead obviously being from the UK as well. I do have to wonder if he's maybe got a little bit of an inside advantage here. One of the only drivers, well, I guess other than myself, who comes from the UK.
Yes, maybe a bit of home ground advantage. But Thruxton is a reasonably easy circuit to get the hang of. Jamie LeVay starting on the front row. MTC Motorsports, of course, the MTC, I believe, standing for Multimatic, the chassis manufacturer that works on various sports prototypes. They're responsible, actually, for a couple of the LMDH and hypercar chassis in IMSA and the World Endurance Championship, which is amazing to see. And it's good to see that Jamie and his teammate Andrew Hardman get out there and represent the brand in sim racing as well. But looks like all of the cars are on the grid here, and we are getting ready for the start of race 2. Let's see if LeVay can threaten Clay Morris at all here as we get ready to go here. Lights up, revs rise, and we are away. And that's a great start from the left-hand side of the grid. It looks like Scarali and Gerard absolutely bottled that start. They've lost a few positions coming into the first corner, and well, up front, Clay Morris has held on to the lead. LeVay, Hardman, McDonald and Broomhead chasing him down.
Certainly, it definitely was a very interesting start indeed. Clovis Gerard getting caught out on that one, the hardest, down 5 spots. I have to wonder if he was having a little bit of a nap there. Maybe he just needed to stretch his legs, all 6 feet of them, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Clay Morris is indeed out in front. Jamie LeVay in the 4.44, only about a tenth, 2 tenths behind. Andrew Hardman in hot pursuit as well. Slight gap there to McDonald, but he's very much under pursuit for the 00 of Michael Broomhead.
Yes, good start from Broomhead, from McDonald, from Nikardenbev as well, who maintains 6th place for the time being. And Morris under threat now from LeVay, going to try into the final chicane. Let's see if Morris actually blends out of the throttle a little bit there. He's fine with losing the lead in the short term. He'll easily be able to gain it back with the pace that he is carrying in this championship so far. End of lap 1, and Nicholas Colander under threat from Tyler Scarali and Ozzy Milwain.
Yeah, certainly it looks like Hollanders will get into some very good battles today right now. As you see the Rust Racing, his teammate a little bit further ahead, albeit not by too much, ladies and gentlemen. Mark McDonald also there in Rust Racing, but we've got a little bit of a bet, I'd say. Maybe not a bet, but a prediction perhaps from Gran Turismo Drew. He's saying the Milwain for the dub, so I don't think he means VW. I think he means for the W for the win, ladies and gentlemen. Right now he is already up 5 positions, and he's got 6 and 7 right ahead of him as he's looking to try and make his way past Tyler Scarali and indeed Nicholas Colander. But don't get me wrong, both of these drivers, their defensive game is there. As you see Colander and Scarali going hard at it side by side. Is Milwain going to try and thread the needle? Is he going to try and force it free wide as he makes his way on the inside there of Scarali?
Yeah, up at Church. That's such a great place, but my goodness, he can't find a way through. It's going to be 3 wide on the run into the chicane for Milwain. Can he pull off what Morris did in race 1? Gets up the inside, but more speed on the way through there for Nicholas Colander. Cuts the chicane, and that might be a slowdown there for Nicholas Colander. Ozzy Milwain right on the back of him there through turn one. Morris sets the fastest lap up at the front of the field, but Milwane's having trouble getting past Nicholas Colander here. Gets up the inside finally, and almost, yep, there we go. He completes the move, and he's up into 7th.
Yeah, certainly if Collins has got to slow down, he's going to have to try and find a spot to bleed that very carefully. I do have to wonder, can he carry it all the way back through for a whole lap and then potentially bleed it off at the next chicane? I don't think he's going to be able to get away with it. Maybe he just got an off track, and indeed the iRacing gods were forgiving, ladies and gentlemen, but fair play to him. He's indeed keeping his foot in it. As Scarelli is probably going to be asking himself the very same question as well, trying to make his way by, as Milwane has indeed. But right now we have a battle going on for the lead. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the radical team member of Clay Morris going against Jamie LeVay there, as indeed LeVay has managed to hold on to that top spot.
Yes, LeVay just hooks up the first apex of the chicane and runs over the curb and maximizes the exit of the final corner there. So I think this battle's going to be going on for quite some time. They're trading spots, and Tyler Scarelli's trading spots with Nicholas Colander there, and that's going to be another spot down for the number 5, but should be able to keep up in the slipstream. Tell you what, the battle for the lead is starting to bring Hardman, Broomhead and McDonald back into it. We have got 5 cars within a second of each other at the front of the field, so Morris doesn't have it quite as easy as he did in race 1.
Yeah, certainly for me, that just makes for even better entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, as we are indeed on lap 4 of 14 for this second sprint race. And you do have to wonder, I can look at my timing screen right now, the majority of them are highlighted red, ladies and gentlemen, which means they are generally within about 1.2 seconds of each other. As right now we see the rear liveried machine of Clay Morris in that 48 going to try and make a move up on the inside against Clay Morris, and you have to wonder, are these two guys going to work together and leapfrog, be a tool rebel, ladies and gentlemen? That's Weir Tools getting in on the action there as Morris regains the lead.
Indeed. Yeah, it looks like for the moment they're happy with swapping every couple of laps at the front of the field. It's still very early stages in this race, but Morris is looking super fast. 1:05.007, new fastest lap of the race as they pass by what I believe is the long lap for motorcycles when they do race here. Thruxton, of course, an active venue, does suffer from the noise restriction nonsense that affects a lot of racetracks in the UK, but still manages to get a good few days of racing in a year in the real world. Here comes LeVay on Morris again. Will he complete the move, or will this time he stay behind?
Certainly you have got to wonder the strategy game. These guys are both seasoned and experienced enough to know that they do not want Hardman and Broomhead catching up. As I say that, it looks like Broomhead's going to try and make a move on Hardman right behind us. We've got a battle going on for P3, ladies and gentlemen, side by side as they're going down into the chicane. You can just see it, and it looks like Broomhead has indeed not managed to get his way past. I think Hardman just managed to get the better of him on that occasion.
Yeah, looks like it. Hardman able to get ahead and push Broomhead off the podium. But they're still keeping within a reasonable gap of LeVay and Hardman. Should be just enough for them to get a whisper of slipstream off our top 2. Hardman wants to catch up to his teammate and help that fight, try and get a 1-2 for MTC here. At the moment, this league so far has been the Clay Morris show. He's won every single race of the season so far. We've completed 4 of them, but yeah, for the moment, looks like LeVay is still his closest threat as Broomhead now sees a chance to find his way past Hardman. Milwane and Nakadenbev, they came together in race 1, and they're side by side again here in race 2. Plenty of fights going on through the field. LeVay gets back ahead of Clay Morris. As for Nakadenbev and Milwane, they end up getting the switch done between them. Nakadenbev back up to 6th spot. Have a look at this fight. This is fantastic here at the front of the field. Nakadenbev, though, lets Milwane back by. There's battles all the way through the top 7 here, Zippy.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. And I do have to wonder as well if Nakadenbev's not wanting to hand over a position easily. Is either going to be strategy, or it's going to feel he maybe they had a little bit of a nudge there when they made the pass. Certainly a little bit of sportsmanship does indeed happen in this league, but right now we've got the lead battle going on. Clay Morris definitely applying the pressure there to the back of LeVay, the 444 machine. He was potent in the IndyCar. Can he carry those transferable skills over to indeed the BiS Formula 3 Championship, as right now Clay Morris is indeed hot on his heels as we hit the halfway point for this race.
Yeah, well, here he comes again. Trying to get up the inside of LeVay at the chicane. You know what? These two are playing it very nicely, I think. They're holding on to that top two. They've got the gap over Hardman, McDonald, and Broomhead.
Ooh.
Speaking of McDonald and Broomhead, that's Hardman going around in the background. Oh, no, the rear wing's gone for Andrew Hardman. Oh, pincer move from Nikardenbev and Milwain. Scarali will get past him as well. There's no grip on the rear there, Andrew. You don't have a rear wing.
Yeah, certainly. I did say earlier, if these guys ran at Cadwell, they'd need a bit more of a firmer wing, and it's fair to say even losing the one he's got, Hardman is definitely, he's got a little bit of a twitching sensation coming from the rear, and I don't think it's just the car, ladies and gentlemen. That would indeed be a very tense moment, as indeed round and round it goes. Obviously, you can see here all the grip here coming from these cars, a large portion of it coming from the aerodynamics with that rear wing pushing air over the rear wheels, pushing the tires into the ground, and indeed providing some traction. But here's the not the case here. He's just going to try and limp that car back down pit road.
That's a shame for Hardman, and it looked like he made that error all by himself. These were the drivers he was battling with beforehand, Mark McDonald and Michael Broomhead, who now find themselves in a fight for the podium. And there goes McDonald up the inside of Broomhead at the chicane. Well done indeed, but be careful not to catch that little lip of grass there on the exit of the final corner. Obviously, this track hosts a wide variety of racing over the motorsport season, but every one of them has the same issue with the grass at the edge of the racetrack. Still very much an old school circuit, this one.
It certainly does indeed provide some really good real-life racing as well. I think I was watching some of the vintage stuff go around there about a month or so ago, and honestly, I absolutely loved it. They were beating the snot out of the cars as well, which just makes me feel happy. As here we go, Ozzy Milwain versus Nikardenbev once again, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like Milwain's got it done, at least for now. Nikardenbev still able to keep a nose in there. Milwain not able to return to the line as they're going side by side. Still, ladies and gentlemen, around that very fast, very high-speed right-hander.
Nikardenbev with the inside line for Church, but it's not going to work out. Milwain gets the position back there. Morris and LeVay continue to trade spots at the front of the field. We're going to have 5 laps to go here as they make their way across the line. And Milwain and Nikardenbev, if they keep this consistent, might be able to threaten McDonald and Broomhead for the podium in the next couple of laps. But every time I see someone go through that chicane, they cut the final apex a little too much, and that unsettles their car.
It's certainly sometimes, as much as you want to take the shortest route, you got to weigh up just how much travel you're going to get in the suspension. Are you going to cut the course enough that indeed it does unsettle the car, that you can't apply the power? You almost have to hesitate a little bit. Sometimes it's quicker to go the long way around, ladies and gentlemen. At least certainly that's what I tend to do with words. As you can see here, Nikardenbev trying to find his way back. He's going to try and put it up on the inside here of Milwain. Obviously, these guys are not looking to chasing the battle ahead. They are indeed dropping back a little bit now to Broomhead and McDonald. Those two guys are still going at it, but not at the same kind of level as these two. Less than a tenth of a second in it as they're making their way down through the track and heading towards that chicane.
Nikardenbev on the edge of grip there through Church, and that's going to open up the opportunity for Ozzy Milwain, but he's going to stay behind again. I think this is smart from these two. They did come together in race 1, but it seems they've cleaned it up a bit, and they are focusing now on just being consistent and trying to help each other out a little bit, maybe in the slipstream. Milwain, he's had plenty of opportunities to pass Nikardenbev, but considering how strong the slipstream is and how fast Nikardenbev is, it's likely that Milwain wouldn't be able to get free of him if he did pass him. So I think if I was in his position, I'd wait behind until the last lap and then make my move.
But feeling that is exactly what he's doing. Certainly Nikardenbev is not afraid to bang wheels a little bit there. He has at times been a little bit too spicy, but he does indeed make improvements and has thankfully returned to the BiS leagues. As you can see here, he's definitely applying the pressure, ladies and gentlemen. Is he going? No, he's going for it now. Back up on the inside this time of Nikardenbev. Hopefully they can keep the wheels out of indeed contact. You see Nikardenbev using all that curving here. Incredibly close racing so far.
Yeah, they want to try and stay off those curbs. It's very rough curbing at Thruxton and very stiff suspension on these Stellara Formula 3s. Move complete for Milwain, but he goes off onto the grass. Good save from Milwain, but Nakardambev will sweep back through, and I think that might be Aussie's last chance at a top 5. Disappeared into the ether.
Yeah, I don't think there was any contact there. Suddenly just got a little bit of running wide, and that was just enough that he couldn't put the power down. Absolutely fantastic recovery there, but certainly a very good battle indeed. And so it just goes to show that sometimes the battles aren't just on track, they are indeed in the mind of your opponent. As Graham Lowen has just made a pass on Phil Nels.
Yes, indeed. Racing all the way through this field. Loben, most positions gained in race 1. Hasn't been able to move past 12th in race 2, though. But he's having a nice battle there with Phil Nels. And they will have 2 laps to go when they cross the line next. So things are about to come to a head here. Mark McDonald and Michael Broomhead, they've raced each other for a very long time, they have, and they'll have another chance here in the final couple of laps. But McDonald not getting the best run through the chicane there. When you nail every apex of those final 3 corners, it's one of the best feelings in the world. But yeah, those curbs are very inviting. They will bite if you use them too much.
Yeah, I can certainly relate to that. Certainly some cars are a little bit more forgiving than others. The Formula 3 is not on that list, ladies and gentlemen. But honestly, watching this, you see a little bit of a tank slapper there from McDonald. Thankfully able to keep a hold of it. But certainly myself, I have got to admit, I would love to see a little bit of vintage machinery make its way onto the iRacing service as we do indeed return to the lead battle. It's Jamie LeVay versus Clay Morris.
It certainly is. It's stayed the same the whole way through here, and they'll be coming up to the white flag. This will be a rollicking battle between these two. They stayed within about half a second of each other all race long. Who gets the best run through the chicane here? See the line that they're taking there. They're staying on the striped section of the curb. You get onto the green area, the curb starts getting way rougher. And for the moment, Jamie LeVay seems a bit too far back to pick up the slipstream, but a good run through these opening corners will put him on course to go side by side with Morris into the chicane.
Yeah, certainly I think there's a little bit of tactical play going on here. You've got to time the pass. Certainly, we know that last chicane is indeed a great passing opportunity here. Is going to be the last chance this race for LeVay. If he wants to get it done, he's going to have to get it done soon. The checkered flag is indeed on the horizon. Are we going to see the 444 topple Clay Morris off there, who is at this point is undefeated, ladies and gentlemen? Can LeVay indeed bring a torch to that success?
He's got the slipstream, he's got the momentum. You see Morris getting larger in the view, and he's immediately trying to break the draft here. If he was doing that, I wouldn't play that game. You're just scrubbing the tires and losing speed, and I think that's LeVay's chance gone there. Morris is going to protect into the final chicane and run over the curbs nicely. Enough momentum to keep it going, and Morris is going to win race 2. Well done indeed. Fake out when it mattered. Broomhead going to win the battle with Mark McDonald, and Aussie Milwain has finally gotten past Asad Nakardambev on the final lap as I predicted. He played that one well.
Yeah, I do have to wonder just on the legalities there of weaving on the straight to break a toe. Myself, I've never been a big fan of it. It's certainly a controversial topic in the iRacing communities indeed. I'm not sure what the BIS ruling is on it as well, but certainly, you know, I would have said you get one move. That would have been my perspective, but I'm not in race control on this one, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly, Reese, I wouldn't mind knowing your thoughts. Certainly as a seasoned professional, I imagine you've got a couple of insights, but what would be your opinion on such a move?
I mean, you know, I don't think there's anything really like preventing it, as long as the driver following stays behind you. You know, I think it's fair game in the middle of a straight. If you were changing lines in a braking zone, that'd definitely be a big no-no. I just think a lot of the time it's unnecessary. You know, if the driver in front of you does it, you're going to lose more speed if you try and follow them in the slipstream. Just hold your line and you'll keep that momentum up. Got to think about rolling resistance and such. But at the end of the day, that is the way the race ended. Morris and LeVay, your top 2, with Broomhead and McDonald rounding out your top 4. Aussie Milwain beating Asad Nakardambev to the line, and Milwain a huge amount of positions gained from 14th up to 5th. Scarali, Colander, Swindells and O'Hyan round out your top 10. flip them, and that's going to be your top 10 for race 3. Cedric O'Hayan will have pole position. Clovis Girard, Graham Lobban, Phil Nels, Andrew Hardman, and Alex McLean taking to the finish. Connor Janateus did not take to the start. It seems he called it a night pretty early after his incident in race 1.
Certainly that indeed can happen, ladies and gentlemen, but I believe we are here ready for a warm-up now. And we don't actually have a main title sponsor yet for this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to donate to this league, sponsor this league, by all means, reach out to us. And indeed, if you just want to join, ladies and gentlemen, have a look at this QR code that our director is going to put up for you. Scan that thing, use your phone, use your camera. Magic happens, and it takes you to the Discord. Don't ask me how it works. I guess it's like a barcode, but that's 2025, ladies and gentlemen, and my mentality is not quite there yet. But indeed, it does work. Have fun. Come on in. And certainly, it's not just Formula 3 that we run here at BiS. Come the fall, we are indeed going to have a return of the BiS Radical Canada Cup. Indeed, the Formula 1600 is making a return as well, and many more opportunities on the horizon, ladies and gentlemen. We do tend to have leagues going throughout the year. So definitely a good place to be if you want to get involved with some quality sim racing, and indeed, a quality community indeed.
Absolutely. Get that QR code up on your scanner and join the Discord. Always looking for more drivers to join. Man, Thruxton, I said at the top of the show, Zippy, I've been hyped for this one since the schedule was announced, and I think it's lived up to it. There's been some really good racing here, showing off the slipstreaming capabilities of these cars.
Absolutely, certainly it's not often we get to the multiple shows where we get to see the Formula 3s, but indeed this has definitely been it's been great to see them out on the track, and certainly Thruxton, not one of the more common circuits here in the iRacing in calendar. So it's definitely good to see them back, as indeed we've got more people in the chat. We've got Cairo Ends in the chat, telling us somebody we used to see on Saturday. Gran Turismo Drew is there. We got Rob Campbell cheering on Richard Swindell. Certainly he may not be first, but he makes it last. I think that's I can never remember his slogan there, but definitely we've got a few people here in the chat. John Beverly as well. We are going to wish him congratulations. He tells us he's got a new baby, ladies and gentlemen. I think he means a little tiny one. I don't think he means he's got a new lady friend, and certainly I wouldn't broadcast that on there if he did, but congratulations to him on the new baby. Certainly he's looking for a babysitter, so I'm going with that one there. So definitely going to send him some warm vibes, some warm loves, and I do have to wonder just how long it'll be before we see a baby-sized Lima Racing race suit.
Yes, I gotta wonder how early will they start in karts? The Binvalid Racing family. I think there's a nice ring to that one. Well, I think this top 10 invert for race 3, Zippy, is going to throw up some drama. It seems that there were some drivers that didn't have too much luck with the standing start in race 2. Hopefully they've worked that out for the third and final start of the night. But lap 1, I think, is going to be a bit chaotic as we have our fastest drivers in the field trying to work their way up.
Yeah, myself, I've always been a fan of invert grids, but where you mentioned on the start, sometimes some tracks it is indeed much more potent. You can be the one-liner, have a little bit more grip available. Certainly, if I think about Thruxton, that outside will be all used as a racing line, so you have to wonder if there's a little bit more rubber down there. Perhaps that is indeed going to help the drivers on that side to get away a little bit quicker.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we did see that in race 2. The drivers that started on the right side of the grid from the driver's perspective didn't have as much of a run because of the lack of rubber on the racing line. I think the slipstream's going to be coming into effect as well very early. You know, we've seen that happen. Basically, half the lap is flat out from 1, 2, 3, 4, from the exit of turn 5 all the way out to the chicane at the final corners. That's basically flat out. Maybe a slight lip here and there, depending on where you are in the fight and where your line is. But yeah, I mean, your entire lap is defined by a single acceleration zone, a single braking zone. The circuit may sound pretty simple from that perspective, but certainly not the case.
Certainly, I do want to get one of the drivers' opinions here. Mr. Richard Swindell has joined us in the booth very quickly, the number 16 car. Now, Richard, Thruxton, not one of the more familiar tracks here we see in the iRacing calendar. What's your thoughts about this venue so far?
It's fast, but I think it kind of sucks, to be honest with you. But maybe that's just because I didn't do enough practice on it. You know how I feel about those old British tracks, Sippy.
Oh, I know. Well, certainly, Richard, it does indeed bring a new set of challenges indeed, but we are going to be seeing you start in P2 for this race. What's going to be your strategy for the main feature tonight?
Hold on and hope I don't crash. It's going to be a tough up here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, the Ridgeway Racing setups driver of Richard Swindell. Certainly your teammate actually absent this week, Richard, so certainly representing the flag on your own for this one, but we are going to wish you the best of luck and hope we see you here on the podium for the final feature.
Thanks a lot.
Well, Richard Swindell's going to be starting out of second place here on the grid for race 3. Sorry, Cedric O'Hyan taking the pole position by virtue of finishing 10th in race 2. Nicholas Colander and Tyler Scurali are your second row, with Asad Nakardambev and Ozzy Milwayne keeping each other very close company on the third row. In 7th place, Mark McDonald, Broomhead going to be alongside him. They'll continue their battle from race 2. Jamie LeVay and Clay Morris, they were as close as ever in race 2. They will continue that from the back end of the top 10 in race 3, with Gerard and Loban on row 6. Phil Nels in lucky 13th alongside Andrew Hardman, who wants some redemption from that race 2 crash. And Alex McLean looks like will be the last car to take to the grid. Connor Janateas has not returned to the server. Well, just a few seconds remaining, and we have the most difficult start of all here for the drivers up at the front. It's one thing to nail your getaway from in the midfield, but from the very front of the field, the pressure just rises. An empty track ahead of Cedric O'Hyan and Richard Swindells as the revs rise. And dump the clutch and away we go. And it looks like Swindell's got a slightly better getaway there. I don't think it's enough to draw alongside O'Hyan. Very short run into the first corner. And oh dear, we got a crash in the background. It looks like Michael Broomhead and Jamie LeVay have come together.
Definitely not what they had in mind. As you see there, Broomhead looking to make a quick recovery as we return back to the front. Cedric O'Hyan, the Lima Racing Machine, is currently out there in front. Certainly John will be very happy with that. And it looks like Richard Swindell, sadly, he's dropped back into 8th already. I'm not quite sure what happened there. He did indeed get a potent start, as indeed not exactly the race he was going for. But Asad Nakardambev, we know that this guy is capable of podiums. He's currently there in 2nd with Nicholas Colander going side by side.
Yeah, good job. Good first lap here from Asad Nakardambev, but he's got Ozzy Milwayne for close company once again. And through Church they come. Pick up the slipstream again, maybe an ever so slight lift through the corner. Nakardambev takes advantage of the slipstream off Colander, but Colander's Rust Racing teammate Mark McDonald gets into it as well. Up into 4th alongside Ozzy Milwayne, but Milwayne's going to maintain the line through the chicane. They're side by side, Milwayne spun.
Oh! Yeah, that was definitely not the corner exit that he was looking for. You see a couple of drivers there taken to the inside of that chicane there, and that's going to put him right back to P12, ladies and gentlemen. As indeed, I've got to say, Colander, some great defensive moves there. Don't get me wrong, he really squeezed the gap, but it looked legit to me, and certainly I can't fault him for it. It's a tactic that I am personally a great fan of, trying and force your opponent right to the edge of the limits, right to the edge of the track, and indeed, it is indeed paying off for him as he's currently in P3. He's held steady. Cedric O'Hyan out front by about 0.2 of a second. Nakardambev very much hot in pursuit. Is Clay Morris there? He's up 4 positions. Right behind him, Hardman is up 6th. He's currently the hard charger in this race. Are we going to see these guys make their way towards the podium as Nakardambev could be here with an opportunity as he's applying all of the pressure there to the back of Cedric O'Hyan?
Yeah, they maintain the lead there with Colander and McDonald making the Rust Racing charge. Looking at the number 4, goodness me, into the braking zone for the chicane. That's going to be the move for Hardman on Scurali, and they're all struggling over the curbs here in the opening laps. That's what took Ozzy Milwayne out of the running, but into turn 1, McDonald and Colander basically making a Rust Racing wall that Nicholas Colander is trying to maintain, but Morris manages to get through on him, and this is very close racing.
Absolutely, and certainly McDonald and Colander, I do believe they do share communications there in the chat. If they can pull that off cleanly, you know what, it could actually be a strategy. We have seen the team game a little bit here, but certainly not to that level. As we see more competition happening, Colander is indeed trying to hold on. Cedric O'Hire now has dropped back into fifth. Colander making a move up on the inside.
Yeah, Hyan dropped a lot on that lap. That leaves Asad Nakadenbev 1.2 seconds in the lead. And now Clay Morris, winner of both races so far tonight, is going to find himself under a lot of pressure from the F1600 champion Mark McDonald, as they're almost 3 wide in the background. Colander leading the way into the final chicane, and he's got O'Hyan, Scarali, Hardman, Girard and Swindells all behind him in a train, but Scarali will draw alongside on the way into turn 1. Fastest lap going to Clay Morris as the battling continues further back. Look at all of those cars in the background. This is an insane race.
Yeah, certainly there's definitely a lot of action going on. Clay Morris, he's back up in there into P2. Let's find out where the rest of the battles are indeed going on. Looks like Clovis Girard's going at it actually with Richard Swindells back there in P8. Certainly we haven't seen too much of these drivers. There's Cedric O'Hyan in P7. Definitely not the race he was looking for, but fair play to him. When you do get that invert grid, it is indeed a challenge to hold on. But right now, right behind him is Clovis Girard and indeed Richard Swindells. These guys, all three of them, have raced together for many seasons so far. Are we going to see a little bit of a mix-up in the order there? As actually Cedric O'Hyan is on the inside. Clovis Girard looking to apply a bit of pressure with Swindells with front row seat as Girard goes there, trying to make the switch back.
Yeah, same thing happening up ahead between Scarali and Colander. Into the chicane they come as easy through the apex, clattering over the curbs there. And oh dear, it looks like we've had Phil Nels have an issue further back in the field, but we won't look at him at the moment. There's going to be more battling to be had between these three now at the front of this fight. Andrew Hardman, Tyler Scarali and Nicholas Colander all together through the opening turns. I'm impressed that Colander's been able to hold on to this. It's been an absolutely ecstatic battle.
Well, I've got to say, I'm definitely approving of the paint there on Mr. Scarali. He's got a beautiful Pit Road Productions logo and indeed has that beautiful Royal Air Force livery as well. It looks like a bit of Battle of Britain memorial fight there. As we've seen a move up on the inside there, incredibly close to the number 3 car of Andrew Hardman, and not really a lot that Scarali could do there. Now it's going to be up to Colander to try and hold back Hardman, one of the BiS regulars. This certainly is no RC car, and Scarali already looking to fight back. He's got a slipstream there as he's sending it there on the inside. Are we going to see 3 wide? No, he's backed out of it as he goes back into the slipstream. Are we going to see him move there on Colander? Is it going to be a buy one, get one free here? As Scarali really holding back there actually as they make their way through the chicane.
Yeah, I think doing the smart thing there. It is a longer race here that is going to require a pit stop, remember. The drivers don't have enough fuel to make it to the end. So I think what you really want is an opportunity to maybe save some fuel, shorten your ultimate time spent in the pits. That might be what Scarali is going for. Either that or he just wants to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, and not only that, some people, they actually prefer to follow a car than indeed have a car behind them. Certainly it's easier to concentrate on what's in front of you than to worry about what's behind. And I do have to wonder there as they go down behind that hill, is that Scarali's plan, or is he just wants to apply the pressure there to Colander? Hardman, he's checking out at the minute. He's about 9/10 of a second up the road. I guess it's almost maybe one of those things where, you know what, his race isn't with Hardman, his race is indeed with Colander. And not only that, just Clovis Girard behind, who's just been passed by Ozzy Milwain, who's currently trying to make a recovery.
Here he comes round. Nicholas Colander does Tyler Scarali, and that was just in time for the final chicane there. Lap 6 making lap 7. Not in warm-up, in race 3. Apparently, I think there's a little error in the top left-hand corner there. But we're rapidly ticking away those laps. And Asad Nakadenbev now is under major threat for the lead. Clay Morris and Mark McDonald have caught right up to him. The thing is, the slipstream here is so strong that if you're out in front by a while and the drivers behind you are able to work together, they'll catch up to you in no time at all. I think we're going to be seeing some proper racing for the lead in a few moments.
Yeah, Certainly, Nakano is not somebody who's going to give away that position easily as well. He's going to fight onto that as long as he can. And certainly, you know what? I'm actually going to cheer for him on this occasion. I've got nothing against Clay Morris or indeed Mark McDonald, but Clay Morris has been absolutely dominating so far this season. I'd like to see somebody be able to take him off that top step.
Yeah, here we go then through the final corners here. And good curb usage from Clay Morris. He's certainly got this track worked out. And it's around this part of the lap that he starts to really catch up to Nakadembev. The acceleration zone out of the final corner spaces them out a little bit, but a good run through these corners, you know, a lot more difficult to get right than you think. It looks simple enough from the driver's perspective and from above, but yeah, you need a lot of bravery to get the best run onto the high-speed section of this circuit. And that curb to the left there, you can use quite a bit of it in touring cars, but probably stay off it in a Formula 3. Use the extra grip on the darker tarmac through the fast corners, then into church. Looks a bit nondescript from the surroundings, but there's the apex. It is such a difficult corner to get right in most cars, flat out in F3, but when you got a car in front of you, man, it's scary.
Yeah, certainly. Just indeed reminding of the Laguna Seca a little bit, the fast left-hander before you go up the hill and then over down towards the corkscrew. Certainly, if you get too close to the back of a car there, you will 100% lose your reference points in terms of where you need to brake. Certainly, I say reference points. I don't know if that's necessarily the best way of driving fast. It's certainly the way that I do, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, if you want to get better and get faster, I am definitely not the person to teach you that. By all means, check out the Almeida Academy for that. Indeed, certainly, Swelio just released a new video as well about how it's like to race in him, so by all means check that out. But right now, Almeida, Asad Nakano is currently out in front, and Mark McDonald has really been able to close in on this battle as well. He was about 8 tenths of a second back before. That gap half, 4 tenths of a second, as you see Clay Morris getting right up to the rear wing of the 230 of Asad Nakano.
Yep, indeed, and we've had our first few pit stops of the day. Clovis Girard, I believe Jamie LeVay, and Alex McLean as well. Girard and McLean have just come into the lane, and looks like Girard has the quickest pit stop time of all so far. And this is the point where the drivers up the front are going to be thinking, okay, when are we going to go for the pit lane? Pit entry, oh, that's a big clatter over the curves from Nakadembev. Big instability. That's not a word, but what is for sure is Nakadembev has lost the lead now, and he's going to have to try and defend from Mark McDonald. Man, I've talked about it all night. Those curbs are brutal. They will smack you sideways if you take them even a millimeter too much.
Yeah, this is where having that track knowledge and having that track experience can really start to pay off. You just know how much you can get away with. Certainly that, using the off tracks technically as well. You know, if you know you're good for, say, 20 off tracks, you want to use all 20 necessarily to try and increase your pace. Don't get me wrong, it's a high-risk strategy, but for some of them, it will indeed pay off. As Clay Morris has managed to pull away 5 tenths of a second, is this going to be the opportunity he's been looking for? That We're a Tools machine. I do actually wish they would send us some tools. I would definitely be down for that. I always enjoy tools, ladies and gentlemen. Even though I don't use them on a daily basis, I want to try out the Weira stuff. But certainly it is indeed Clay Morris out in front. As I say that, the draft really starting to be potent there. That gap coming back down to 3 tenths of a second before the braking zone.
Yeah, so Nakadembev has been able to minimize the damage from that mistake. And we're getting a great view of the paddock with that angle. Looks like the cameras might have a bit of an issue with all of this, but yeah, that just comes with it sometimes. We do apologize. We are doing the best we can here at Pit Road Productions. Looks like Morris has done his usual shtick of, I'm in the lead, let's bring the gap out to something insurmountable.
Yeah, I think Nakadembev's got to try and really work here with McDonald. McDonald's going to be aware that Morris is definitely a potent force to reckon with, but you have got to wonder as well, is McDonald just hanging onto the back of Nakadembev? Is the draft what's keeping him in it? Or is he just playing a tactical game, just trying to save a little bit of fuel there? Certainly myself, I would definitely be trying to play the tactical game on this one and try and get Clay Morris off the top step of the podium. As I say that, we're going to see a little bit of a battle here. McDonald going to try and make a move there. Not quite able to get it done, and if anything, it's just ended up costing him quite dearly. Nakadembev as well, they've now dropped back even further, potentially into the clutches of Andrew Hartman, who's lurking there in P4.
Yeah, once again, a move into the chicane where they went side by side on entry has resulted in both drivers making mistakes. Nicholas Colander and Michael Broomhead, the next drivers to make their pit stop for the race, and looks like Colander had a very slow stop, 6.8 seconds when you should be aiming for something like 4.2 as, oh, have a look at this between Jamie LeVay and Phil Nellis. Jamie, having completed his pit stop already, is going to find his way through into 9th place. Man, things are starting to get a bit leery here as the drivers who've pitted have come up against Phil Nels, who hasn't pitted yet, and there's a big pace difference between them. Now Nels has Gerard and Broomhead right behind him. Card and Bevan McDonald side by side into the chicane again, and Assad, he's able to take the curbs through the chicane nicely, but it looks like McDonald is sick of being stuck behind him and he's going to go for the pits.
Well, I'm looking for the pit time. There it is. I was going to say, it's certainly, you know what, fair play. If you find that you're getting held up, that is another way of doing it. Just pit and come out and hope that you don't get stuck behind some slower traffic, potentially. As I do have to wonder if that's going to pay off for him. He was quite slow in the box, though. 7.3 seconds as Richard Swindell's now making it down pit road.
All right, so
He
this
was
is going to...
quick.
Yeah, that is a very quick stop. Only 4 seconds for Richard Swindell's. He must have been saving a bit of fuel there in the opening laps to get that pit stop down. Let's hope that that works out for him in the long run. He's going to come out behind Alex McLean, and there's been a problem for Mark McDonald. He's just towed back to the pits, and I'm looking at his car. The entire front and front right side is gone. There's been a major error for McDonald on his way out of the pits, and it looks like he's done it all by himself. The car just losing traction, and that's where he ended up.
Well, let's take a quick look here and see what happened to the 216 of Mark McDonald. You can see there, goes in, and it looks like he's gone in through the left-hander. Gets a little bit of oversteer there, and it's just enough that he absolutely devours that wall. The Marshal honestly didn't even flinch. Fair play to him. He's more courageous than I am, but definitely an unfortunate end for McDonald. But some good news there for Nicard and Bev, as right now we're going to go here with Clovis Gerard, who looks like he's getting into a very spicy battle indeed with Michael Broomhead as they go side by side across the start finish.
Both of these drivers have already taken their pit stop for the race, so they'll be going to the very end from here. Got 4 seconds up to Jamie LeVay or thereabouts. And for the moment, Gerard holding off Broomhead nicely. But remember, Broomhead has got great pace here at Thruxton. He'll be fighting as hard as possible here in the RAF paint scheme, and he gets alongside through the left-hander, makes the move. We don't usually see passes being made there, but well done to Michael Broomhead. Got it done there. A slight lack of momentum for Clovis Gerard, but he's going to attack again coming into Church. Easy does it through the apex. Got to give each other room. It's a bit of a narrower line through there than you expect, and it's cost both of them time to Nicholas Colander.
Yeah, I got a feeling Collander's going to be a good camera car for this one, as indeed these guys are going side by side, toe to toe, ladies and gentlemen, as they duck down behind the hill. There you go, that's an angle for you. Looks like a little bit of damage there on the nose cones of Colander as well. We'll have to check that out in just a short moment as you see the battle continuing there. Right now, Broomhead is indeed ahead of Clovis Gerard, but for how long? Certainly the draft is indeed potent. Are we going to see a new challenger for Broomhead? Is we going to see Nicholas Colander make his way up into P9 and then take a choice at Broomhead for P8?
That is the question. Oh, that's a little slip there for Clovis Gerard, and that's momentum gone coming onto the fastest section of the track. Colander will duly draw alongside, but has he done enough to complete the move? Has to go around the outside of the left-hander before Church, and it looks like the move will be complete there for Nicholas Colander, but Gerard is close enough for a potential dive back at the chicane. Moves to the outside for Church and keeps the momentum up all over the curb on the exit. He's going to try and find a way through on the inside here. The door is open, but how deep is Colander going to go in the braking zone for the chicane here? Both of them about the same, but Gerard will yield just at the last moment. Don't take too much curb, don't compromise your line too much, and you'll stay in that order across the line as O'Hyan takes his pit stop. Another quick one, 4.4 seconds.
Certainly, it looks like 4.4 is indeed the golden number. Actually, I do see a second driver who managed to hit that 4-second window. That was Tyler Scarelli, but definitely Richard Swindell's with a 3.9 and Broomhead with a 4.1. So there is definitely a little bit of variation time in the box. I do have to wonder if a couple of these drivers are indeed going to have enough fuel to make it to the end. Don't get me wrong, if you're in a draft when you came into the pits and it's calculated it off that, that's all right. But then if you come out to open air, you could indeed be for a problem at the very end of this race.
Yeah, so much time spent on full power at Thruxton, plus no one in front of you results in a lot more fuel usage. There's a bit more air to push past there, and that will use more fuel. Well, it looks like as we find our way through to 6 laps to go, or thereabouts, for Clay Morris, we're going to have a pit stop battle potentially between Morris Hardman and Mill Wayne, the 3 cars at the front that still have yet to come into the lane. Phil Nels also hasn't pitted yet. Good news if you're following Mark McDonald, he's managed to find his way back out onto the circuit. 2 minutes spent taking repairs.
Certainly, some of the purpose-built race cars are definitely a little bit more friendly when it comes to an incident occurring. Certainly, if you think actually about a radical, actually, if you want to get access to a lot of that, you just literally take the body panel off. It's fantastic. Certainly, you compare that to a road car, not even anything like comparable. Actually, I did get to see a Corvette today. I take a look at the suspension, and honestly, wouldn't be bad to work on. And that's just a Corvette, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to indeed have a look here at the battle going on between Clovis Gerard and Nicholas Calander. I've got to say, Collander's defensive game has been absolutely on point today. I've been very impressed with his driving. But Gerard, first to say, I've got to meet the guy in real life. I'm surprised he's actually sat down as low in that car as he is, and being so tall. As you see, a little bit of a wiggle there, a little bit of a correction, and it looks like Collander's managed to get away with it there. Really fighting the grip in that chicane, as indeed Collander does on the exit. We're going to see Gerard making a move as they go down into turn 1.
Surely not round the outside. Wasn't able to get alongside Colander in time, but he is sensing a move now. This is going to be interesting for sure. I've seen Andrew Hardman has come into the lane as well, so that's the first of our sort of lead pack there that's come in. Clay Morris staying out, and for the moment Gerard not able to get the move done on Colander. He's going to have to sit behind a little longer. They've still got a fair way ahead to Michael Broomhead, so nothing much to be done there for any extra positions. Clay Morris, our leader, has just come into the pit lane, and looks like he will get out in due course there. 4.7 seconds stop there, and he's going to come out with a great gap to Andrew Hardman. He will remain in the lead.
Oh, certainly, I got to say, I do remember Clovis Gerard. He used to have a different camber angle for his thing. I always used to be rather nervous when I see the monitor wobbling, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed he's putting that wheel and indeed that rig through its paces. You can see the chicane really having to work the car, but right now Colander putting in a great defensive game. Don't get me wrong, he's down 5 positions in this race, but the invert grid is definitely, it can be a gift and also a bit of a punishment in some ways, as right now Gerard not yet have been able to find his way past with 4 laps left to go.
Yep, and finally with Phil Nels getting into the pits there, that's the field cleanse. Everyone who started the race has come into the pits, and unfortunately Graham Lobban, despite his great results so far, has not taken to the start for race 3. So we only have 14 cars running at the moment, but the battle is now become one of 3 for Colander and Gerard. It's no longer just the 2 of them. Alex McLean will join them, and you know, that little bit of side-by-side, that little bit of fighting that they did, it was enough to bring Alex McLean into range.
Yeah, certainly McLean is indeed, I've got to race alongside him before, to see a lot of curve there from Clovis Gerard. He's definitely, that would be a day you wouldn't want a motion rig, ladies and gentlemen. You would have indeed potentially been ejected out of the cockpit on that occasion. But McLean has closed right up to the back of the 27 here. The 69 car very much hot in pursuit. And this is exactly the news that Colander was looking for. If he can keep Gerard busy with McLean, that could be his opportunity to run away and try and keep hold of P8.
Yeah, this is a good development for Colander. He is going to draw further and further ahead as McLean catches up. An incredible gain over the last couple of laps for McLean. He took nearly half a second out of Clovis Gerard here. And McLean will keep the momentum up here into Church. Defensive for Clovis Girard. Oh, it's so difficult to actually get a move done through that corner. You know, you commit to your line, it looks flat out, but you lose a lot of momentum on the outside there as McLean goes for the move into the chicane. And was that a bit of contact there? I gotta wonder. Girard falls back and there's debris across the track. There was a coming together. Girard has lost his nose.
Well, hopefully it's just the car, not himself. We're going to have to take a quick look at the replay on that one, as he's definitely a little bit frustrated. Fair play to him. But, cool, Christian.
Yeah, okay.
Flick the camera off as he flicks the bird. We're going to have to take a quick look at the replay there. Certainly, having known both of these drivers, I definitely don't think it would be malicious. Definitely a little bit of frustration, perhaps, from the driver of the number 27 car. He handled it better than I did, we'll put it like that. Let's take a quick look at the replay here, Reese.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think the bird was quite justified. It looked like a regular move there from McLean, though he may have slowed it up a bit more on the apex than Clovis Girard would have wanted. This is a little bit earlier in the lap. They're going side by side through Church, and then there's the straight up to the chicane. So keep an eye on the purple car following here of Alex McLean. He'll move up the inside in the braking zone, but a little understeer is induced, and he sort of slows up a bit more on the first apex than Girard would have realized. And I mean, I think from Girard's perspective, it looks like McLean chopped his nose off coming into the corner. I understand why he's frustrated from that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be one I'd probably want to view from a different angle. And I think Christian was thinking exactly the same as me. Here it is from Clovis Girard's point of view. You see a little bit of a wiggle there. I definitely see the frustration. I mean, I'm not sure how I would rule that one. I mean, he did get to the apex first, if you want to play that rule. But certainly, you know, I'm not quite sure how I would rule it myself. You know, racing incident would be my initial thought. But again, glad I'm not in the stewarding department. What does the chat think of this, actually? I know we've got Cairo in the chat. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, let us know. I mean, it feels like, you know, Girard was committing to the apex of the corner and was trying to hold on as best he could. Probably didn't anticipate that McLean would have lost that grip on the front tires, but we'll leave that discussion for another time, because it is the final lap and Clay Morris is out in the lead by it was nearly 4 seconds at the line. Andrew Hardman trying his best to catch him up there, but once again, Clay Morris is just dominant in this championship. Everyone else has fallen into bad luck at some point, but talent does count for a lot, and Clay Morris certainly has gotten this F3 car worked out. He's going to maintain his 100% win record this season so far, with a little slide out of the final corner, and takes the checkered flag.
I have a feeling he was either showboating or maybe got a little bit too comfortable on that one. Certainly Hardman would have been absolutely, like if you'd have just got the win from that point, you'd have been pumped. But I think Clay Morris is definitely taken to this like a duck to water, ladies and gentlemen. Doing very proud for Weir Tools and indeed for Rob Burgess from Radical Canada. As indeed the donuts commence. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not mean the edible kind. Certainly you wouldn't want to put your mouth on one of these things, but indeed the celebrations here. As you see, your undefeated champion so far, Clay Morris in the number 48.
Yeah, brilliant job from Clay Morris in this round. The celebrations begin, debris goes flying. I do believe that was, whose front wing was that? I don't even know. Nose cones and wings all over the place here, and that's O'Hyan that finds himself on his roll hoop.
Can we get that again? Like, I want to see slow motion of Cedric just going boom, 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 boom across the screen. I don't know if you can make that happen, Christian. I get your logging and stuff like that, but that was it was funnier than it should have been. It got me at just the right time.
Oh dear. Well, that's going to round things off here. Man, what an event here at Thruxton. Obviously, the small field size has played into it a little bit. I think it could have been a little more exciting than it was, but I'd still be happy to see more racing at this circuit personally. Clay Morris showing that he rules Thruxton as he ruled most sport 2 weeks ago. Andrew Hardman and Asad Nikadambev round out your podium. Austin Milwane and Jamie LeVay top 5 with Tyler Scarali and Michael Broomhead 6th and 7th. Nicholas Collender, Alex McLean and Richard Swindells round out your top 10. After starting on the front row for Swindells and Ohio, they have to settle for 10th and 11th. And Clovis Girard having to take an extra stop for damage from that contact with Alex McLean. Phil Nels and Mark McDonald finish 1 lap down. And those are your finishes there with Graham Lobban and Connor Janateus not taking to the start for the final race or 2 of the night. Zippy, looks like we're going to be moving very quickly into the driver interview stage of things, and the first one we're going to talk to is Nicholas Coland.
Hey,
Nick, it's not too often I get to have a chat with you in an interview booth, but I've got to say, it looked like you were having some really good racing today. I do commend your defensive moves. Tell us a little bit about how your strategy was here for Thruxton.
So, like, you guys been seeing me race for a while. I believe in just kind of survival first, but I've been putting some work in now, trying to practice more and just making my car wide. Also, I'm not the fastest driver. You guys know this. I'm just really good at avoiding wrecks. So if I can just do that, good things tend to happen.
Certainly the Richard Swindells approach. He may not be fast, but he sure does last. I think that's his slogan, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, he doesn't charge me the quarter to say it. But I got to say, Nick, you've done really well tonight. I've been quite proud of your driving, rocking them beautiful bronze wheels. But we're heading to Imola next. Now, is that something that would be on your Princess-approved track list, or is this certainly Thruxton is a bit more your vibe?
Honestly, man, with you guys doing the broadcast, Mike putting this together, and good racecraft, doesn't matter what the racetrack is. It's going to be a good time.
I'm definitely inclined to agree with that. But Nicholas, before we let you go, is there anybody else you'd like to share out for today's performance?
The wife let me do what I love. Mike, you guys, my teammate Mark, my son Axel. Love that little guy. See you guys next week.
That's definitely fair. And you can see for Nicholas's picture, ladies and gentlemen, that is indeed himself. And I'm going to say that's Axel there. That's a pretty badass name as well. I've got to give you that. Proud father moment, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly we can try and get him into a go-kart very soon as well. That'd be pretty awesome. But Nicholas Calander, you're P8 in the feature, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Nicholas Colander. And the next driver we're going to have a chat to. Zippy, I'll leave it up to you. Assign me someone to talk to.
You choose,
I think
buddy. You choose.
One of our podium here. All right. It took me a bit longer to get my mouse in order. That's why I asked. But Asad Nikadambev is going to be the one to join us for the interview here. 3rd place in race 3, Asad. You had pace all night, but Thruxton proving quite a brutal circuit, particularly those curbs at the final chicane.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get my head wrapped around those curves fully. Unlike Clay and Hardman, they were flying. Um, it was just, I mean, it was just throughout the day. I was just trying to figure out those curves really because everywhere else is just flat out and just super easy.
Yeah, indeed. Slipstream, a big factor in this one as well. There was that coming together between yourself and Aussie in race 1 coming into the chicane. Seems quite difficult to actually pick your braking zone into that corner. You know, it's curved. You got to think about those curbs, obviously. What was your perspective on that?
For the incident, I mean, it wasn't really an incident. We both just spun at the exact same time. We didn't have contact at all. It was just we were trying to outbrake each other, and I think that caused us to spin because we all broke ourselves. Like us together, we outbroke ourselves, and we just both didn't calculate the braking zone quite perfectly to make the corner and keep going.
Oh, well, regardless, you managed to get a podium out of tonight's racing, and Imola in 2 weeks' time may be more your vibe. The slipstream's going to be a factor there, of course, but a bit more of a regular open wheel style racetrack.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I like that track. That track's a lot more to my characteristics per se, and yeah, should be a fun one.
Absolutely should. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go, Asad?
I would like to thank my mom, my dad, my entire family for watching and cheering me on. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Performance Racing School, Fortified Motorsports. And yep.
All right, Assad Nakadambev brings us home there from the third place. And Zippy, looks like you've managed to catch up with Clay Morris, who once again has dominated proceedings.
So, Clay, when you get up, do you just like absolutely just ooze excellence? Like, obviously, the Formula 3 and yourself have got on very, very well. What was your strategy, and how are you having so much success here in the Formula 3?
This race, I kind of knew that the last chicane would be a little bit of a death sentence if you went side by side. So I just did my best to put myself in safe positions and got lucky enough that as people made mistakes, I was able to get by and it worked out.
Well, certainly you are indeed a potent force to be reckoned with. And Reese, you're going to relate to this one. Certainly, when we have seen drivers have such dominance, they almost become a target for the rest of the members to try and get them off that top step. Now, I'm thinking of Jackson Whittington on this occasion, Reese. I'm sorry your mind went to the same spot. But do you feel that having such great success, you're maybe going to find a little bit more extra competition here as you make your way through the field?
I think there'll be competition for sure, but these guys are a good group of guys, and I don't think anyone will kind of go out to take me out or anything like this. It's just gonna try to keep up the clean racing and hope for some good next few races.
Well, certainly you are indeed a potent force to be reckoned with, and indeed repping that beautiful livery as well. You got Radical Canada on there, and indeed We're Tools, who have officially backed one of the Radical Canada cars being driven by the one and only Mr. Rob Burgess. But Clay, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out today?
I'm just gonna thank Mike again for running such a good series. It's always fun to race with. And also for Mr. Hardman. In practice yesterday, I was struggling in the last chicane. Turns out I was taking it completely wrong, watched some of his onboards and smoothed it out a lot and was able to get consistency for this race.
Well, absolutely loving the camaraderie here at BIS. But Clay, we are indeed going to let you go and wish you the very best of luck in Imola in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you, Zippy.
Well, Clay Morris will enjoy his success there. And I think we can have a chance to chat to Andrew Hardman as well, who got podiums in 2 of the races here tonight. Race 2 didn't quite go to plan, Andrew, but I think you can be very happy with your performances in races 1 and 3.
Yeah, I seem to forget how to drive in race 2 and towards the end of race 1. Just this track is an interesting one where you have to be in a good rhythm, but there's so long of a distance between where you have to be in a rhythm along the track or along those flat out sections that it's easy to find yourself out of a rhythm during a lap, even if you don't make a mistake. So it was, yeah, I guess a lack of concentration, and that bit me. But yeah, race 2 was good. I made up a lot of spots, 12 spots, 13 spots. I
Yeah.
don't know. That was pretty good. Good to race with Assad and Mark McDonald and this Clay guy. I don't know what's in his milk in the morning, but this guy is insane. 6 for 6. I need to beat him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody's thinking the same thing, Andrew. There's a lot of momentum that's been built up by Clay in these opening rounds, and there's only 6 total rounds of this series. So time to get testing with your MTC teammate Jamie LeVay at Imola and see what you can do in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. I must say I'm pretty happy to be done with this track. Imola is on the other end of the spectrum for me in terms of enjoyment, so definitely getting started with that soon, and we'll come back stronger and put it to Clay.
Yeah, we absolutely will. Well, congratulations on the double podium, Andrew, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
My teammate Jamie LeVay, Rob Tessio, those guys are with me at work and in the sim, so great to have these guys and talk shop and talk racing during the day. And you guys for putting on a great show, and of course Mike Broomhead for the awesome league. Putting the F3 back in this league was the best decision he's ever made.
Yeah, it's certainly a popular decision amongst the drivers and popular with us as well. The racing has been great. The action has been great. Andrew Hardman there. going to celebrate his podiums here at Thruxton, Zippy. And I think that's about time for us to wrap.
Definitely inclined to agree with you there. What an absolutely fantastic round here for the BiS Formula 3 Championship, ladies and gentlemen. Clay Morris does indeed remain undefeated, but maybe a little bit of a bounty on his head at this point. You got to start to wonder. Imola, I am actually starting to think maybe I'm going to have to come out to play for this one. Certainly, I do have the feeling, don't get me wrong, I don't think I can keep up with Clay Morris, but I kind of want to see how I can do against the rest of the field. Maybe we have to bring Morgan Smith in here, or indeed see if we can steal Kyle the Bald Eagle Mills, perhaps try and get him in here. Maybe let me loose on Imola. I have to do a couple of practice sessions and just see just how bad I am. You may indeed find me back here in the booth. Certainly, if my pace sucks, you're definitely going to find me in the booth. What would be a surprise, ladies and gentlemen? But what an interesting round as well. Certainly Thruxton, one of the more unusual circuits in the iRacing calendar, and definitely it did provide a couple of challenges and indeed a little bit more of a breather for some of the drivers here. But Imola is going to be a very, very different story.
Oh, it absolutely is. And if you decide to race Imola, I might have to race Bathurst. So we'll see how that works out in the season going forward.
Failed.
1 for 1. We should let Christian do a round as well, bring in a guest broadcaster maybe.
I knew I shouldn't have said it. He was just going to open the door, and I knew he was going to want to get out.
We gotta keep him with a ball and chain in this comms box. But Zippy, I think that's going to be the end of the show. I'll leave it to you to say goodbye to everyone.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a huge thanks to everybody involved, to Mike Broomhead for organising, for all the people here who took part in the race, and not only that, to our chat as well. Certainly we're getting Cairo Ensky visiting the chat as well. We've had Clovis Gerard visiting the chat, almost crying into his steering wheel at this point. He realised what indeed happened, and indeed the multiple people who have indeed come out to hang with us. I love seeing the chat busy, ladies and gentlemen. By all means, interact with us. We want to know what your thoughts are during the show. But last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, let's thank the production crew. My name has been Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth has been Reese, the Southport Racer Gardner, Christian Hill at the controls, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time for the BiS Formula 3 Championship at Imola.